I am a representation of my experiences, not the religion of Islam. Who I see or who I saw God as is so profoundly different. I'm really trying to be thorough, but not long-winded, inshallah. I used to be the type of person that believed like the ease of life, it gets really interesting. Anyways, my husband and I, Assalamu Alaikum, welcome to my channel. My name is Maya and this is my reversion story of how I became a Muslim. Alright, so I'm gonna do it in like sections. I asked ChatGPT what would be some general questions that people would have for an African American Muslim woman of my age of 40, like what questions they would have for somebody like me. And it generated these questions, and I did a few other tweaks, and then I got these. So, growing up and background. So, what was faith like for you growing up? So, I was raised in a Baptist Christian style home. I think the church that we started, like I can remember when I was like 5 or 6, we used to go to was called Church Emmanuel. So I want to say that was an evangelical church. And then growing up with once I was adopted, growing up with my aunt, it was Baptist style church. I was baptized. I was very much a part of the youth center. I was very much involved in the church. My aunt, pretty much, I would say that I was raised in the church. I read the Bible. We were encouraged to memorize many verses. Let's see, I played basketball, and a lot of the girls that I played basketball with were a part of the church groups that I was in. So yeah, I was very much aware of God, and I was very much in tune with spirituality and all of that. So were there parts of Christianity that you really connected with at the time? The idea, obviously, of God himself is I would say the only part of Christianity that I truly connected with. Obviously, when you hear stories of Jesus alayhi salam, it gives you feelings of strength and encouragement. I would say probably the biggest part of Christianity that I connected with was the music. I was very much musically inclined growing up, and gospel music was something that always really touched my heart. Let's see, question 3. Was there ever a point where you started wondering if there was more out there spiritually? I don't think there ever was a point that I didn't wonder that. So even though we were raised Christian, I was a huge reader. I love to read, and I was a huge Stephen King fan, a B.C. Andrews fan. I just really liked things that were probably something that I probably shouldn't have been reading about, and then learning and hearing about like the spiritual world, ghosts, demons, exorcisms, all of that has always intrigued me. And knowing that God protects me with prayers and things like that, like it was all so interesting. Yeah, so my interest in like my reading genre, my movie genre, whatever, horror and all that, really kind of pushed my whole love for somebody's calling me. Okay, so we are in the section of discovering Islam. How did Islam first come onto your radar? So I was first Islam, like I'm sure I heard about it growing up, but I cannot remember ever engaging with anyone about the religion of Islam until I met my husband. I know. But, well, let me be fair, until I met his sister. So I met my husband through his sister, and so she would just hang with us. Like, we were, what were we, 17, 18-year-old girls, high school girls hanging out. We're seniors. We're pretty much done with school. So we're going to parties. We're wearing mini skirts. We're doing all the things that young American teenage girls do, you know, and yeah, so it used to baffle me. Like, we all getting ready, doing our makeup, getting dressed and together and stuff, and then sis would stop and pray. I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? And so she kind of explained to me like what she was doing and things like that, and it was interesting. It was interesting, but like so many other things that are interesting, it kind of went over my head. But then I met her brother, and I really just like, we hit it off like that. Like, he's just really good at conversation, and apparently, you know, everyone was like, oh, he's extremely religious, whatever. I didn't find him to be. I found him to be argumentative. Like, he liked to debate with me about my religious belief, which was Christianity, and I didn't mind it. Like, I enjoy point blank telling people, this is the way. This is the way. Like, if you ain't believing this, you ain't on your way. So I don't know. Like, I'm totally okay with having an educated debate. At least I was. I'm not anymore. I do not engage. Don't even try. If you try in the comments, you will notice I will ignore. And if you get belligerent, I will delete and block. I appreciate a really good argument about opposing ideas. I like to hear people's views on things that are different from mine, drastically different from mine. And when someone believes in something that I disagree with, my first question is, what in the world would make you think that that's right and mine is wrong? You know, that's how I think. So he and I would just get into these really good debates, and through that, we really gained a good friendship. We always talked. He is so passionate about this religion. If there's anyone that, anyways, he is very passionate about the faith, and he's always been that way. We're still together now. It's been 20 years, alhamdulillah. Yeah, and his passion and my passion at times have, you know, bumped heads. I mean, we would talk about religion. We would literally go back and forth on computers at the time when we were in class, because we were in college. He and I really got to talking and engaging, I had already been in college. Like, we were in college by then. He and I, yeah, we debated a lot, and that's essentially kind of like what brought me in. Was it a slow journey, or did something specific happen that made you take Islam seriously? And I've really pondered on this question a lot, because it's been about 20 years since I reverted, alhamdulillah. So it's hard for me to remember those moments, what brought me over the threshold, because in my mind, I've always believed in God this way. I just wasn't taught to believe in, you know, so it's really hard. But I know that there were many debates at the time, and we used to listen to these DVDs that had a lot of people like Sheikh Ahmed Didat, may Allah have mercy on him, Brother Dr. Zakir Naik, may Allah protect and preserve his wisdom and knowledge. Let's see, just so many. And then we used to listen to this other one that was about the Illuminati. Oh, girl, it was so interesting. Like, I try not to dive into this like conspiracy theory stuff, but low-key, it's kind of interesting. So, and when it comes to like stuff like Islam, in regards to it, like, it almost always checks out. And so it gets really interesting. Anyways, my husband and I, we used to listen to it hardcore back when we were in college. We cannot find those DVDs. Girl, DVD. Do you have any? Question 6, when you started learning about Islam, what really clicked for you? So what clicked for me about Islam immediately was the not needing an intercession between you and God. That was the one. But not just that, it was how you pray. The prayer itself, to me, is the most, I don't even know, sanctified. It's the holiest, it's the most divine part of my day. It's my greatest connection. Like when you do sujood, and it's like, it feels like your greatest moment and your greatest connection. Prayer almost is the thing for me that I feel solidified Islam in my heart. And funny enough, it's the thing that I learned immediately. Like, I just had to pray. And prayer. Prayer, alhamdulillah. As a Black woman, did you feel a cultural or even historical connection to Islam? No. As, what was the other one? Did you feel a cultural? Oh yeah. Historical, cultural, absolutely not. So when I started learning about Islam, I realized how disconnected current society was from reality. I realized how many lies I had been being fed and consuming all of that poison all my life. Like, I felt like I knew absolutely nothing. And no, I did not feel that sort of like any connection to Islam, the religion, like, ooh, that's my people, that's my, no, I'm not that, like, I didn't feel that way. I felt lost when I became a Muslim, and I don't want to cry about it. I felt lost, I felt like, so all of you adults around me knew about this, but nobody thought to even like mention it. And if I tell you some of the things that I've heard said in my family about this religion, I can understand why it was never mentioned. But I mean, I felt betrayed when I became a Muslim by my family so bad. And I don't think like people realize what I'm like. I don't know. Do you understand what I mean by that? Like, and not even to speak on how they reacted. Like, we're not even to that question, but I didn't feel any connection to Islam. I had to make that connection. Allah has made that connection. Alhamdulillah. All right. So now we are in the transition and challenges section. Question 8. How did your family and friends react when you told them you were reverting? They acted terribly. So my favorite story to tell people is that the person who raised me, may Allah guide her and grant her goodness always and preserve her life and keep her healthy and happy. I love her. I say that first before I say this, because I'm sure what I did may have hurt her. So she said to me, like, you've changed, you're not so, quick to react and this, that, and the other, you seem calmer, basically, is what she said. And it's true, I've always been very hot-tempered and smart-mouthed. So, alhamdulillah, that was the first thing someone noticed on me when I became a Muslim. And so then in that moment, I said, well, I let her know I had converted to Islam, reverted to Islam. And to be honest, I don't remember all of the words that she said. I just will never forget how I felt. And I know she loves me, and I know every word at that time, she probably didn't even mean it, even then, let alone now. But it really just broke me. And the way my siblings acted, and heard that my brother basically said, like, don't talk to Muslims, because if you do, they'll automatically like brainwash you and get you to convert and some stuff. And then he likes to talk about how he had slept with some Muslim girl in college, and that, even though we all dressed up and covered, it's just a cover, it's just a blanket. So I even found out, like when I became a Muslim, one of the things that a lot of people said, oh, you gotta change your name, you gotta change your name. So the name that I chose for myself was Khadija, because of Khadija, radiallahu anha, I mean. And so I found out that he named his dog Khadija. Like, only, and that's nothing. Probably y'all like, really? He can name his dog whatever he want. True enough, but out of all the names. Anyways, yeah. What was the toughest part about leaving Christianity? The toughest part about leaving Christianity? The toughest part about leaving Christianity. There was nothing tough about leaving Christianity for me that I can think of. Did you ever feel torn between who you were raised to be and who you were becoming? Yes. And I still do sometimes, even at the age of 40, alhamdulillah. I have learned so much about being a woman, about being a mother, a wife, just being in Islam, you know, but I wasn't raised in it. And so I basically have been going through adulthood, learning how to be a good person, and alhamdulillah, I'm surrounded by great examples. You know, that my in-law that I told you about, we used to party hard together and stuff like that. She is one of the most beautifully religious people you will ever meet. You will never see her just out of pocket and out of place. She carries herself well. I think everybody goes through a learning curve, whether you were raised in Islam or not, because we all have to personally take that journey to Allah, right? So just because your parents happen to be Muslim, happen to give you good schooling, everything, your experiences are your own, and how you see them is all based on your understanding of things, not theirs. So we can give you everything we had, and your experience will be entirely different. I look at my kids sometimes and think, how in the world could you think that? But their whole life is different. Their whole life is different, even though I try and give them a lot of the same, if not better things than I had. I find that I had to learn how to carry myself differently. I've never been much of an extrovert, like in the sense that I want to be the center of attention or whatever, but I've also never been the type to hold my tongue if I have something I need to say. So learning that what you say is extraordinarily important and you shouldn't just be yapping all over the place, and being careful of what you say. All of these things you're held accountable for. And so I've had to learn over the years to kind of tame that part of me. And I wouldn't say that that was how I was raised. I would just say that's just who I was as a person. I have cousins who were raised the same that were the exact opposite. So these are just my struggles. So yeah. We are in the Living Islam section. Question 12. What's your favorite thing about practicing Islam now? That's such an odd question, is it not? Like, my favorite thing I think about, I know, my favorite thing about my religion is knowing that it's true. You know, it's just, there's such a weight off your shoulder in life, knowing that you are on the right path. You know, knowing that even if you mess up, you know where to go to get back on the right path, you know. Just knowing that Allah is in fact one, that there aren't so many things and so many places I need to go. He doesn't ask much of us, and I'm so grateful and I'm thankful for that. So just that, like the ease of life, like, I'm a very mental person, so the ease of life is the most beloved thing to me in Islam, alhamdulillah. How has Islam changed your day-to-day life, like your habits, mindset, or even the way you see people? Drastically. Drastically. I used to be the type of person that believed everyone to each their very own. That was one of my favorite things to say, to each their very own. As in, if you like to eat human brains, that's on you. Just stay away from mine. Or if you beat your kids, that's on you. Don't touch mine. I don't have that sort of mindset anymore. As a believer, you are a part of society, and you are yourself a representation of that society. And so what you do, it reflects within it. And whether or not that society is upheld is on the things that you say and do. So I hold myself accountable, and I hold my sisters accountable, and my brothers and my children, my nieces and nephews, to a much higher standard because we're believers. I don't believe in that whole hedonistic idea where, you know, do as you please, do what feels good. No, you do what's right. And if you don't know what's right, here's the book, the Holy Quran. You know? So day-to-day life, real quick. The 5 daily prayers. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Learning how to create life around 5 daily prayers has been my greatest jihad. Alhamdulillah. You know, but that, I would say, like, when it comes to what Islam has truly changed around in my life, is just being mindful of time in that way, because this is a duty on you every blessed day. Alhamdulillah. So okay, what brings you the most peace in your faith? Prayer, and just knowing that it is true. Is there a verse or teaching in the Quran that really hits home for you? How does one say one? But let me just share with you some ideas that are at the forefront of Islamic faith that I just absolutely love. Okay. Justice comes before goodness. That's like, how is that not like on every legal system's wall? Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna have to blink you out. Okay, I'm back. So I think I'm on the fun and relatable portion. So the first question is, how was your first Ramadan experience? Smooth or struggle? Like I said, it's been 20 years, so I don't really remember my first Ramadan that well, but I do know on my first Ramadan was the only Ramadan that I ever ate by accident. I was just at work and I just totally forgot that I was fasting, and I ate, and I remember coming home and my husband basically asking me about, is this my ice cream or something like that, and I was just like, yeah. And then he reminded me and he was just like, you know, it's okay, it happens. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, I'm assuming it was pretty smooth. I love Ramadan. Like, I'm not one to say, oh my God, fasting is hard. I'm not the one. I know for some people it is, and your complaints are totally understandable. But for me, alhamdulillah, I'm good with it. Do you remember the first time you wore hijab in public? Yes. So I was in college at the time, and I was already wearing the turban style. And I was wearing it in so many different ways. I would wear it wrapped, you know, whatever, so many different ways. But then I had a comparative religions class, and I was very proud of being a Muslim even then. And I just wanted, you know, we were talking about all these different religious beliefs. And like I said, I've never been one to shy away from expressing my thoughts and opinions when they are solicited. That last part has been understood over time. But yeah, so engaging in those debates, but not representing my faith, it didn't sit well with me. And so I remember just like feeling like I need to be brave, you know, if I truly loved Allah, if I truly believe this, you know. Discovered any new favorite foods discovered since reverting? Yes. Any new favorite foods? So first of all, I am not a person that likes rice. Rice, pasta, it's not that big of a deal to me. But when I became Muslim, I was introduced to two new foods that I'd never tried before: Indian food and Nigerian food. Nigerians were the first type of meat patty that I remember eating. So I love Nigerian meat pie. I love moi moi. I love tuwo shinkafa, egusi. I love Nigerian food. Most of it. I love most Nigerian food. Now, if it draws, like if it's I don't like my food to do that. So I don't like my food to be too cheesy. So I don't like it if it has okra in it. But my favorite food is by far, hands down, get an attitude if you want, say that I'm not represent, I don't really care, Indian food. Indian food to me is the best food culturally. I just feel like they get the flavors and textures right every time. But for you to say that you love Indian food, I know there are certain things. I've understood certain things about my palate. I like extraordinarily flavorful food. Like it has to be pungent, spicy, textured. So I love Indian food for all of those wonderful things. And I was introduced to it only after joining the Muslim Student Association in college and stuff like that. And then you get introduced to all these different type of foods because Muslims are all over the world. So yeah. Looking back and forward, if you could talk to your younger self before reverting, what would you tell her? So many things. So many things. Just don't be scared. Don't be so scared. All the time. All the time. Okay. What do you think people get wrong about women who revert to Islam? That it's done for a man. I can't think of a religion in this world that requires more self-sacrifice than Islam. And I can't think of any position in the world that requires more sacrifice than being a woman. So when a woman has made the decision, I mean, you have to give her that respect. And I think a lot of times people just assume that a woman follows. And that's fine. But what does that woman follow? Does she follow nonsense or does she follow logic? Is she following her tummy or is she following her head and heart? So I think people are so quick to judge women in general, not just women who revert to Islam, women who make any decision that is not in agreement to maybe popular belief or of opposition to what those in power may believe that she should or shouldn't make. So I just feel like anything that a Muslim woman, any other things, for example, the fact that people tend to think that, I never understood, like when people said that people thought that Muslim women were dumb or something like that. I used to always see like these women with these hijabs working at, universities and nurses and doctors. So I never had that ideology. It was only after talking to people who were born and raised Muslims that I came to that understanding. But I think people just get wrong the reason, there's so much love in Islam and so much protection. There's so much truth and so much spirituality. And I feel like women are just automatically very spiritual beings. And so it aligns with that part of them just cause, Let's see. How do you balance being both African American and Muslim, two powerful identities. I mean, I don't know what else to be. I don't really have to balance it. It's just who I am. So I don't know how else to respond to that question. Being African American in America has its disadvantages, just like it does being female or black anyplace else. And then you want to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top of that. I'm a Muslim. And then you want to put the cherry on top. I wear the hijab. There's no balancing here. It's just who I am. What's been the most beautiful or rewarding part about this journey? Just the development of my relationship with Allah. I would say, like, just kind of getting to know myself through my devotion and my worship with Him, whether or not I'm truly disciplined enough, whether or not I can imagine paradise, but am I deserving of it? Having those conversations with myself and with Him, and just my relationship with Allah. You know, I feel like over the years, who I see or who I saw God as, and who I see and what I see Him as now is so profoundly different. And that's probably the most rewarding part of being able to get older and be a Muslim, is that you get to go through all these experiences, and inshallah they'll bring you closer to Allah. And then at the end of it all, by the time, you know, you're at your old age, and I pray that we all live life as long as it's best for us, and Allah would take us when death is best for us. But I just feel like the whole process itself is rewarding. The ability to worship Allah is something that a believer wouldn't take for granted. And so each time, each day is another opportunity. I feel like I'm rambling. All right, so we're at the end of this. If I offended you in any way, shape, or form, that was not my intention. I apologize, and I pray that you would forgive me. If I have said anything wrong in regards to the religion, please forgive me. I am a representation of my experiences, not the religion of Islam. No, I do not represent Islam. I am not even a student. I am someone who alleges that they practice. You know, I love the religion. I am someone who can dote over it and talk about it all day if you want to, as long as we're speaking positive. Yeah, so that's what this is. This is me sharing my story and everything and how I got here. And if you can relate, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, give me some thoughts back. What did you think? Do you have any experiences like this? Yeah, I'd love to hear about it. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.